nobody gonna do it for you. Got to find your own.
It literally feels like about a week ago that I made one of these videos. This month is my 6-year anniversary of living on the road in an RV by myself. And literally, it feels like last week that I did the 5-year video. Time goes by so fast. 6 years I've been on the road by myself. And so this month, kind of like I try to do, I think every year, I'm going to do a series of videos about kind of my evolution as a full-time RVer and nomad. Today, what's on my mind is freedom. What does it mean to be free? And I'm thinking a lot about this lately because I'm kind of reminiscing about what I thought my life was going to look like living in an RV, what it has become living in an RV, and what I want it to be in the future, whether that's living in an RV or not. So freedom has really been on my mind a lot lately, maybe because I'm writing my memoir and I'm going through old journals and I stumbled upon some writing that I did actually my first month on the road. And I have been thinking, as a lot of you know, who watch me regularly, a lot of you know that I've thought that maybe it's time for me to get off the road, that I'm kind of burnt out on traveling. So there's a lot on my mind. There's a lot going on in this celebration of 6 years living in an RV. And freedom is a topic that comes up a lot when people think about living on the road, a life of open roads and going from here and there, and it's free and it's carefree. And that's not been my experience for the most part. So what does it mean to be free? I mean, yeah, I definitely have. See, this is going to be weird. I'm not scripting this. I just decided just now to turn on the camera and talk about this topic. So what does it mean to be free? You know, when you think about freedom, leave it below. Freedom is, leave your comment below. I want to know what you think freedom is. Freedom is blank, and leave your comments below. For me, before I hit the road, before I moved into an RV, freedom was being able to go where I wanted, whenever I wanted, being able to go for a walk whenever I wanted, being able to just pack up my backpack and disappearing into the woods for a few days or a few weeks if I wanted to. For me, before I hit the road, freedom meant not being tied down to a place or a person or a job, being able to define my life any way I wanted, right? Being able to just pick up one day and say, you know what? Okay, I don't want to be in California anymore. I'm going to go to New York. And you know what? I certainly have had a lot of that. But I think the one thing that I didn't count on is that freedom has to be learned. And I think I've touched on this in other videos, but this topic really came up for me recently. I was camped at a place where on one side of the road, everybody was congregated. There were 7, 8, maybe a dozen fifth wheels and campers on one side of the road. And I'm like, I don't want to camp there. There's a BLM road here and there's like nobody out there. So I went down the BLM road. There was one other person camped out there. And I went a mile past them and there was nobody out there. Literally within half a day, somebody was out there. And there wasn't a day that went by that I didn't have people camped around me. Even though there was nobody there when I got there, people were camped around me, literally like right out my front door. Even though there was a whole other road that nobody bothered to explore, I'd go walking down there. I went into town one day. I'd been there 5 days maybe and hadn't had a moment to myself. The day I drove out there, I had 3 hours where there was nobody else. And after that, I didn't have a moment to myself. And I started wondering, like, why all of a sudden are people coming down here? And I realized it was because they saw me there. they saw me, and I think I did a video about this. They saw me there, and so it took away any uncertainty or fear that they might get in trouble, that they weren't supposed to be there. It's like, all those people are over there. Why is nobody down there? I must not be allowed to be down there. And it really got me thinking about how we have to relearn to live our lives of freedom. We're taught from very, very early age to not color outside the lines. We're taught at a very young age to toe the line, to be just like everybody else, to don't question authority, don't question the way things are, right? Like, don't question the status quo. You know, think about kindergarten. Don't talk without raising your hand, without getting permission, right? So don't speak out of turn, and especially for me and a lot of us, you know, as a kid, kids are supposed to be seen and not heard. So we're taught to just shut up and be quiet until somebody gives us permission to speak. Single file, right? From the very first thing, one of the first things we're taught in kindergarten, single file, you can't, this is the line to go out to recess, you can't be out here, you gotta be right in line, right? And then there's all these other rules about being in a classroom and being in a society, and it basically is all about conforming. It's not about questioning. You know, okay, we all have to be in a single file. Well, why do we have to be in single file? You know, why can't I just, you know, step one step out over here? What harm does that done? But we're taught not to ask those questions. And so when we come out to live a life of freedom, it takes a long time to undo a lifetime of being taught to stay within the lines. And that's what sparked this thought in my last camp, that it takes a lifetime of people we spend a lifetime being indoctrinated to stay within the lines, to not question, to make sure, don't break the rules. You can't break a rule. What's the worst that can happen if you break a rule? You're going to get in trouble. And for me, you know, I get a lot of crap from this sometimes. I'm a rule breaker. I'm a ask forgiveness rather than permission type of person. I went out on that road the first day not knowing whether or not I was supposed to be there. It was another location actually that did not show that it was BLM land on a map. But there were signs that indicated it was BLM land. So a lot of people wouldn't camp out there because they couldn't handle the uncertainty. Because certainty is in following the crowd, right? There's certainty in not being the only one. There's certainty in being the follower instead of the pioneer, instead of being the leader, right? And that's what I discovered camping out there. People would come out there as long as they saw me there because they felt they wouldn't get in trouble. It was like staying in line. You're staying in your lane. So I conducted an experiment. I went into town one day and supplied up and came back to that spot, except instead of camping where I had been camped, which was highly visible from there was a state park nearby. So I was visible from up on the state park and from the road, even probably where the other groups were camping. You could probably see me. I mean, I stand out. I'm in a Class C. I decided to go down this road that nobody else had gone down. The whole time I was there, people chose to camp right on top of me rather than go explore this road, which Sadie and I had walked down. It was a mile-long road with ample boondocking out of sight of me, but people chose to camp right on top of me. So I decided to conduct an experiment. I went, when I came back, and camped down that road where you couldn't see me from the road or the state park. I was there another 3 or 4 days. Not a single person camped up in that area where I was, where I had been. So I think my theory was proven. People don't know how to be free. People don't know how to push the envelope. People don't know how to be okay with uncertainty. People don't know how to be okay with standing here instead of here. So what does that say about a life of freedom? How free are you living in an RV if you're afraid to color outside the lines? If you're afraid to color outside the box? If you're afraid to be a leader? If you're afraid to risk getting in trouble. What's the worst that's going to happen if you're on land that you're not supposed to be on? The property owner is going to come and say, hey, this is my property. You shouldn't be here. Okay, I'll move. Sorry, didn't know, didn't move. I honestly saw no signs that it was private property. Or a ranger is going to come out and say, yeah, you're not allowed to camp out here. Okay, fine, I didn't know that. It's not posted. I didn't know. People are so afraid, though, of getting in trouble, stepping outside the lines, that they don't even try. So what does freedom really, really mean? As people, as a society, as Americans, as full-time RVers and wannabe full-time RVers, what does it really mean? Yeah, you know what? I can pick up today and go anywhere I want. But in between that, I still have to work. I still have to exercise. I still have to take care of myself. I still have to go to doctor's appointments. I still have to get Sadie her meds and her shots. And, there are still all of these responsibilities that go into life. So, how free am I? I've talked before about how I expected my life to be a lot looser than it is. To not be as tied to the computer as I am and an internet signal as I am. I, myself, did not know how to be free. I was not able to embrace the wide, vast openness that was before me. So what did I do? I started another business because that was comfortable, because that was what I knew. I know how to work. I know how to work my butt off, right? And that was a comfort for me. It tethered me back away from all this freedom that might have been overwhelming into something familiar and known. Yeah, I take risks. I exercise my freedom in little ways here and there, but it's definitely not the life I imagined. I needed some kind of anchor. I needed some kind of line to hold me back to my old life. And for me, that was building another company. So I've been on the road 6 years this month. It took me, April, I moved into an RV in April. I posted my first YouTube video in November. So what is that? 7 months. Within 7 months, I had taken on a brand new project. A brand new business to build. So why am I sharing all this with you? What does this mean? It just means that freedom is a state of mind. I don't think freedom is something that you chase, something tangible that you chase. I think it's a frame of mind. I think it's something that you learn to embrace within yourself in all the little ways you can in whatever circumstance, in whatever life you're living. Maybe freedom means for you dream of getting on the road, you wish you could live in an RV, but you can't. And so maybe freedom for you just means going for a walk for 2 hours, turning off your phone, not just leaving everything behind. And maybe your freedom is just 2 hours a day of just letting your worries and letting the responsibilities of life just wait. This is what I'm learning. 6 years on the road, I am finally learning this. I am at a different place now than I was last year, in that I'm starting to recognize what I've missed. I'm starting to recognize how much different this life is than I anticipated, and that's because that's my own doing. It's because I decided that maybe freedom was too much for me. Wait, no, I'm not ready for that. I need busy work, busy work, right? I need to start a new business. And you know me, I said this when I decided to start. I don't do anything half-ass. I mean, it's not just a matter of shooting a video and putting it up. I mean, there's a lot that goes into running a successful business. Anybody can shoot a video and put it on YouTube. Not everybody is going to get 135,000 subscribers. I mean, it's a job. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of work. And I grasped onto that and ran with it because maybe that was what was comfortable for me. Maybe that for me was, while I thought I was stepping outside of the line, I was slowly working my way back into the line, right? Still participating in a lot of the things that I wanted to escape, you know, the upward mobility, the wanting to succeed, the competitive side of me, right? I must make the best YouTube channel, right? I couldn't do a half-ass, you know, I couldn't just throw up a couple videos. No, I had to, the competitive side of me wouldn't allow that. So the bottom line is 6 years on the road this month. My first message to you after being a nomad for 6 years is that freedom is a state of mind. I've said before that living in an RV, moving into an RV isn't going to solve all your problems. You still take you with you. And undoing and unlearning a lifetime of indoctrination is not going to happen overnight. I'm still undoing it after 6 years. I think I'm getting closer. I feel like I'm getting closer. I'll share more about that in future videos. Thank you all so much for being with me on this journey. It means the world to me. Leave your comments below. Freedom means blank. Let me know below. And I'll see you soon. In the meantime, be happy, be free, and be kind. Mwah.